Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the ever present, but we're still going to introduce him, Thomas.
Hello, welcome. I am
Uh,
Tommaso Joseph
yeah,
Bellezza.
I like that accent. Well, this is mainly focused for authors, but if you're a reader and you want to get like author background information on how we handle feedback gracefully, you can also join in. It would be fantastic. The first half is focused mainly on friends, family, and coworkers and how to handle negative feedback. This is basically negative feedback because I think everyone is like, yay, positive feedback. You don't really need a conversation about that. um, but handling negative feedback from people that you know, like your blood related or friends with, or you have to work with them. And then the second part will be taking questions, comments, concerns about strangers, book bloggers, so on and so forth, and how to deal with that. But I brought on Thomas because he has, I think he has extensive background in handling feedback gracefully. And can you tell us, Thomas, why that's the case? I know, but others don't. So
Hollywood?
just give a rundown. Yeah, Hollywood.
Well, I've been in the industry for over 20 plus years. And when I say industry, I mean the entertainment industry. And I have been on both the quote unquote performer side and the behind the curtain side. Um, I started as an illustrator in the comic book world, and I eventually moved into music, then comedy, writing, acting, etc., etc. I'm a producer, so forth and so on. So there are notes and critiques that are handed to or given to others, and not only have I learned how to critique others to maintain a positive environment, but I've also learned how to take critique and not take it technical. For me personally, I don't take it personal when people critique me anymore. But it's okay if anyone else does take it personal.
Yeah. So what inspired this, I don't know, I guess it was a few weeks ago now, was that there is a YouTuber, but she's not in the book world until recently, where she just kind of published a uh, fantasy-ish psychological thriller. And so she is also has a PhD in psychology, and she posted a video about, I forget the wording of the title, but it was essentially like going over um, her expectations and then the reality of publishing this fiction book. And there was a section where she was very surprised that that a lot of her family and friends, not coworkers, but family and friends that um, she thought would be supportive did not even congratulate her through text message about publishing this one book. And I said in the comment section, I was like that as well in the beginning, long time ago. But there are just some people that don't think art or maybe like books are interesting or important to them, but that doesn't mean that they don't care about you personally.
Mm.
I have some people, family and family friends and coworkers that will text me or call me and say congratulations on publishing that book, and then others don't care whatsoever because they don't read. They don't own like any books. Maybe they'll own coffee table books, but like, did they even read the coffee table book? I'm going to say no. And so that's not on their radar. Therefore, there's just they don't care. That doesn't mean they don't care about you. And I think that is something to keep in mind of if that happens to you. And that's a it was an interesting topic. I was going to, because I was talking to Thomas, I was going to try and like make a pre-recorded video, but then I was like, well, there's a lot to go into this whole conversation. So let's do it live. I was trying to figure out a title, and that was like a good 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh gosh, what are you going to put in that? I don't know. We're just going to go, just do it live because it makes sense. But I think that was an interesting inspiration. But I have heard and personal experience where, you think that a book launch is like make it or break it, but it's
Yeah,
not, you know?
I
You're
know.
not going to fail miserably if, you don't have, at least for indie publishing, I'm interesting on the trad publishing, but for indie publishing, it's a long haul game and it doesn't need to be like your first week or even your first few months where it needs to be amazing or else you're not going to get anywhere. And it is for indie writers, at least the idea to not share with your friends, family, and coworkers your books off the bat. Give it a few months because it can mess up the algorithm. And they're being supportive. That's great. Like they're buying the books,
Hmm.
and they're probably well, I'm not gonna say probably 50% chance they're not gonna read it, but they just bought it anyway. And the Amazon algorithm is seeing, oh well, that's like the first book that this person has bought in a year. I don't know what to do with that. And then there's another book that a cousin of yours bought, and she's not interested because she just reads sci-fi, but your book is historical fiction. And the Amazon algorithm is like, wait, what's going on? I don't get it. So then after a little bit, it will show your book to different people that is not your ideal reader. And then when people aren't clicking or just not interacting with it whatsoever, then the Amazon algorithm say, oh, well, this is a bad product, and they'll not show it. So that is one of the reasons why you should not rely on friends, family, or coworkers to sell your book, even though you're not, even if you're not very well known. But let's just say that they bought your book and they did indeed read it.
Oh,
Wow,
okay. All right. We're in.
amazing.
We're in.
Yeah, we're in. And they think it sucks.
There's that one star.
Yeah. Or like they're, I'm not gonna put this online, but Nicole, I just want to give you a rundown over the phone as to why you should not publish the second book in this series. Here we go. And I think family and family friends, maybe coworkers, I don't know. But when it comes to like you've known someone for a long time or they're blood related, you can see how it's more intimate,
Mm.
and that might hurt more than a stranger. um have you ever experienced that, Thomas?
Are you asking me specifically if I experience negative criticism from doing
From
something
family?
performance wise?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're not, they went to your show or read a draft of yours and they're like, well, this isn't very good, let me just give you a rundown even though I don't do these things.
Well, not to pigeonhole anyone, I will, the general gist is that certain
Yep.
people, that were related to me, said I should get a job and shouldn't do what I do. I should cut my hair. I shouldn't. And then when certain things happened that were successful, quote unquote, they started praising it. I always supported you, and two very distinct examples would be I used to be an illustrator, like I said, and I drew pictures for everybody, including work, and they always said you should stop that. You should try to get a job. Like it's stupid to do that. I didn't say that; they said that, and then I'm just repeating. So then I started doing it for like Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents, every holiday. I shouldn't even said holiday, but just in general, I was just giving them out. And then this person was like, "How come you don't make me any drawings?" And I was like, oh. And then when they first saw me in a Coliseum, they were like, I always knew you'd make it. I was always so supportive of you. I'm so glad." And then when they saw me on television, they were like, "I'm so glad you didn't cut your hair. You know, you got the role because of your hair." And I was like, "Yeah." But I personally was never bothered by it. Again, if anyone else listening was bothered by it, there's nothing wrong with that. I am not better or worse than someone because I was not bothered by it. It's just I knew what I wanted. And again, if anyone's listening and they know what they want and it's still, but I'm just saying my personal experience, my whatever it is. I was not. I was okay with it. Like,
Mhm.
I knew what I am where I am because I kept my face forward, and I did what I had to do, and I followed the rules of success, which is network market practice. I built relationships. I marketed my brand by establishing who I am by getting involved and being true and consistent to that. And then I learned the industry continuously. And I personally never assumed I knew everything about the business and always allowed myself to listen. And then when I joined tables, they are metaphorical tables, but proverbial in a sense.
Mhm.
I said, how can I best lead, follow, or advise this table as needed, and not necessarily how do I convert this mission into my mission? And that's how I got into every industry and became successful. And then people were like, what are you working on? How do we support you? But at first, it was always about supporting others. So when I got family and friends criticism, it didn't bother me because I knew the people that understood the industry, not just my fans, which were the people that I grew over the 20 plus years, but the people in this industry, those critiques were important to me. But again, I wasn't offended by a critique because in reality, a critique doesn't mean you're bad at something. It's just somebody's outside perspective looking in at something that I have a bias to. Like you're an author. If somebody read your book and again, this is an arbitrary example. I'm not
Mhm.
judging you, Nicole, but if somebody read your book and said something about one of your characters, not knowing that you have 6 books written in your head and that you know where it's going and that this moment that doesn't make sense to them is a seed for that, they might come to you with a critique being like, why is this in there? That doesn't make any sense. It's so random, right? And that's a valid critique, but it doesn't mean you're a bad, like, I don't know if that
Mhm.
makes sense, you know. So I would listen to those kind of critiques because it's true for them. They are not understanding the moment. And our bias is we're filled with the history of
Mhm.
the presentation of art, to answer your question quickly. Yes, I
It
have had
works.
it, and I was not emotionally affected by it, because I had to learn quickly that to be successful in this industry, we are not as bad as people's opinions. we're only
Mhm.
good. We're only as good as our effort, and you have to always
Yeah.
be working at that.
Yeah. I think.
That was
Yeah, there are
difficult.
some. Yeah, I know. I'm just yeah, asking those hard hitting questions today. It's very difficult talking about harsh critiques of family.
Yeah.
I don't even know if my family watches. It's okay, but I actually haven't had any problems. My grandparents were very supportive, and my mom is very supportive. And I'm pretty sure if there were any shots against me, my mom would tell them to F off. Um, she did that bodyguard stuff for me. It's
Go,
really
mom.
cool. Yeah. And because I was starting to write in third grade, it was a poem.
A poem?
And even my third grade teacher was just so happy to guess, I don't know, to have a book that, or not a book, a poem written by a third grader that made sense. I don't know, but she laminated it. She gave it to my mom.
That's love.
Yeah. And I wish I remember that teacher's name. But yeah, and then my grandmother, well, my grandparents had that on their refrigerator door for, I don't know, decades, until they, went into assisted living. They couldn't keep it, whatever. And I don't know where it went. But I have not had the experience of having family outright say that something sucks or whatever. I have had my family friend, was there a family member? I think there was one family member, and I told him not to read one of the chat books, but he did anyway. So when that happens, when you say don't read this particular book or chat book or poem or whatever,
Yeah.
because it would be too much to you to handle. I know you, please don't. And then they do it anyway, and then they have critique. I brush that off. I warned you. It's not my problem, is it? It's not.
Nicole, you have to have empathy for people who don't abide by the warnings. You have to change your behavior.
And my mom gave him warning as well. She reads everything. Yeah. There's two people that said don't do it.
Wait, does that make you and your mother in the wrong because you didn't adjust for their particular experience?
No, because my mom said you need to stop.
Oh, I'm just asking for a learning. I'm trying to make this a learning moment for myself.
She was like, don't read it. And then I said, don't read it. And then he read it. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I don't care. Next. So there's something about.
Care? You got to care about their feelings, I thought.
No, I'm not.
Oh, forget them.
There are some times, like this is kind of where possibly the overall theme here is that you need to learn to not care at a certain point.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And when is that point, Nicole? I know where the point is for me.
Yeah, when I have warned my family members that are religious not to read Till Nostalgia 3 different times, and then also my mom said don't do it, and they do it anyway, and they got upset. I'm like, what happened? I don't know what happened. That's on you. Thank you. Hello. Welcome. Ooh. So I like this. I don't have goats though. I should get goats. And then if there's any crazy feedback, you feed it to the goats.
A little advice that was given to me many moons ago, and I'm not giving this advice saying this is how it's done. This is just something that influenced my personal path, which is not the be all end all of how it should be. But somebody had told me, if you are reliant, for me again, just to be clear, I have told you not to read the book. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm telling you not to read the book. This is not how I believe your life should be. This is my personal experience, which is not the kingdom come. So they told me if I allow friends and family to be those who purchase my performance or entertainment or products, I have zero fan base. And they were telling me that my friends and family are not my fan base. They, by general population, general connection, are established to love you or care for you.
Yeah.
And that will only last so long. And if you've ever been in a band, how many times I've been in a band And I could tell you from my personal experience that I've asked certain friends and family to come to shows, and there's a certain point where they no longer come to shows. I've asked people to come to my comedy shows, and they come for the first show when I was personally terrible. And then as I got better, they didn't come to shows because, you get 3 or 4 for me, my experience. And so their advice held true because the ones that maintained interest in me in different forums or different mediums were the fan base. That in turn, I eventually became friends with some fans, but I think that's a different scenario than
Mhm.
me, my high school friends, or in some cases my cousins and everything, where it's like they love you. Of course, they support you. They might not be vocal about it, um, but at the end of the day, you're not trying to get sales from them. And my mom used to always like be like, I'll buy your CDs and shirts, and I'm like, why? I'll just give it to you. And she's like, I
Yeah.
want to support you. And I'm like, yeah, but you're gonna be wearing the shirt and never listening to the music in the house. Like
Yeah.
I would rather just give it to you because you're my mother,
Mhm.
and then have someone else wear it or listen to it. But
Yeah.
you know, you know what I'm saying. Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I talking out my
Oh no, I will give physical copies. Like I'll on Amazon, there's an option for author copies, and then I'll mail them or I'll ship them, directly from Amazon, whatever, to my mom or something, and then they get free copies. So they're reading it,
yeah.
but they're not messing up the Amazon algorithm because my mom will read my stuff and then she'll read nonfiction. Like it's not going to make sense to the Amazon's like, what's this? I don't get it. And then yeah, a bunch of like other like her friends who will read sometimes, but she'll just like here, here, it's my daughter. You better read it or I'm gonna get you. No, so
Read
that's
that.
not good. Yeah, that's not good for like the Amazon algorithm and like long term look because but if my mom wants to do that, I will give her 4 copies that I paid for and it doesn't confuse things and
That's
also
fine.
doesn't like put pressure on other people to go onto Amazon and go do it or else she will get you. No.
I like it.
But that's like, no, mom, I'll give you the copies. They're like, whatever bucks each. It's not a big deal. It takes a while, so you got to be patient because Amazon's not making money off the Amazon copies. But they will arrive, and you do what you will. And
Mhm.
that's also why I have like an extra copy, usually, not lately, of my books. Because if someone, like one of my neighbors who doesn't actually read that much, but she saw a copy and it happened to be an extra one, I'm like, here you go.
Yeah.
But like, you don't read technically at all. You read like 3 books a year. So it doesn't make sense to go, okay, you go on Amazon and you go to this link and then you just click the link and blah, 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 blah. Like just give her the copies. And I don't even think that she's read it, and that was like 6 months ago. So, but she has it. She says she likes to look at it. So, like even like neighbors who become friends, whatever. Yeah, you can't really base that
Yeah.
on long term marketing, business, anything really. And then, but that also helps, like, well, at least I think it helps. Like, if she's like, I wasn't really into this book, I'm like, okay, give it back. I give it to you. Instead of like, oh, well, I paid, 15.99 plus tax. Let me give you a whole rundown. In this essay, I will tell you, even though you read 3 books a year, like, and they're nonfiction memoirs. This isn't the same. It's not the same. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. It's not as bad. I don't think it's as bad if I give you an author copy that cost me whatever $5. And like a year, you finally get to it, and you're like, I'm gonna give you an essay. Okay,
I'll give you an
thanks.
essay.
Yeah, I'd give you it. It's
Listen,
not a big deal to me.
I'm gonna go get more water, so I'm gonna put my camera on stop. But there are some people saying some things. Maybe you could jump on
Oh
that.
yeah,
I'll be right
yeah. Go
back.
get some agua.
All right.
Ward said there is only one person in my family who reads my books, my middle who helps with my editing. I have become friends with some fans, and I have 3 friends who are fans. Yeah. I have become friends with a few super fans, and they're like always on my ARC team. Very nice. Thank you. Shout out. I tend to give all of them EPUB or Mobi or print copies. Yes, I just my mom and like all of her friends, they do print copies. And I get prints of my editing copies from Amazon through the author copy feature. Yeah, yeah. Author copies. I don't know if people know, but so like go into KDP. Just so go to a paperback. I don't know about hardcover because I don't have hardcover, but go to the paperback section, and there's 3 little dots on the right hand side, and you hover over that and it says order author copies. That's where you get those copies that you can give away. And it's not even just for family or friends. A lot of writers will order like 20 author copies because it's the exact same thing, but you're getting them for the printing price, and they'll go to book fairs and stuff.
Book fairs? Is that fair?
Yeah. Yes, it is fair.
How fair is fair?
Renaissance fairs. If you
Is
write
it fair?
Renaissance-esque books, they can also do fair Renaissance
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I recently just ordered a few author copies. It also depends where you live.
Agreed.
Sometimes it takes like 4 weeks, but I think I'm near a big distribution center, so it like maybe takes 2 weeks. So if you're doing fairs or book festivals or signings, really look into like how long it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 6 weeks. Give it 6 weeks.
What are your
Yeah.
if you are doing a book fair, then expect you to have physical copies, usually
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 of each book.
Yeah.
I print out the small versions like this. They're like an inch. And then I could
I don't think
afford
that
at
works
least,
for epic fantasy.
yeah, but I could afford 5 times as many books as if I what are your thoughts on people who because back in the music industry they would do it too, where the record label would buy a bunch of the CDs to you know
Mm-hmm.
balloon the sales rates. What are your thoughts on authors who uh, to show that they have a following or to show that they're doing well, they'll buy a whole bunch of copies of their own book? You ever see
I
this?
don't know how you afford that.
Well,
Well,
you sell the books after you buy them.
well,
Well,
hypothetically.
at the fairs.
Yeah.
At
Well,
the-
there was, don't do that, people. Do not do that because there was this one writer a few years ago who was an indie writer, and she bought so many of her books that she got on the New York Times bestseller list.
yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't been seen since because that's basically fraud. And like, how much did you spend? Like,
A
I
lot
don't,
of
yeah,
money
that's a lot of money. She was
going.
like top, yeah. Oh, wait, I forget the exact. She at least got on like the New York Times bestseller list. I'm not saying that she hit like top 10, 15 or something, but she was there.
Yeah.
Oh, she mortgaged her house.
But you get an
Oh my
asterisk
gosh.
when you do that. It'll pop up an asterisk saying that a bulk sale was made, and
Oh,
so if you make it to
that's
the
how people figured it out. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, don't do that, people.
don't do that. So,
Mm-mm.
but going back to how you handle writing feedback gracefully, what was your original experience to feedback? And then maybe we'll challenge how it has changed over the years. How did you first take feedback? back in the day when you when you decided to officially be an author and people were like, whatever their comments were about your books? How did you originally take the feedback?
Well, this is going into part 2. Moving on from family, friends, and coworkers, going into part 2.
Questions?
I like that transition. Okay, we're going. Let's see. I am hard to upset. I would rather have like a critique of fixing something before it's published, because then good luck.
Yeah, but you could always fix something after you publish it. I mean, it was done with Frankenstein. It was done with The
Yeah.
Hobbit. It was done, many great authors have
Yeah.
republished an alternate version of their book that was updated.
Yeah, but a lot of those are really old examples where, especially the Mary Shelley one's pretty old, Thomas. But like, I'll go in and fix typos if someone, I mean, that's not a problem, and that's a positive for indie writers. They can, oh, you have 3 typos in this new book. Okay, well, now I don't have any anymore because I went in and took 30 minutes or less, fix that up, right? But I would rather have a critique of this and this and all that is wrong before it publishes, or even maybe goes to the editor. And then versus like I put out a problem book that has a lot of plot holes, or like nothing really happens, or the character arc is non-existent, like that type of stuff. Though I haven't, the only big change in critique feedback was for the 2 foxes. I've said this before, but here we are, we're doing examples. It was like the second half, Sarah just somehow has a ability to control lightning, and my editor Sarah was like, because Sarah, okay, Sarah, my editor came back and she's like, doesn't make sense. I'm like, okay. And then but it was a very in-depth, it was a very long email. Okay, so it wasn't just like one line, but do I like remember the whole in-depth email? No. But she gave many examples, and I was like, okay, I'll change it. And she's like, oh my gosh, thank you. And she's like, thank you for not yelling at me or cursing me out, because I'm always nervous when I do something like that, because she has had writers say, F off, I'm not doing it, and you're a piece of crap, and
wow,
how dare you say this, or whatever. So she got nervous. And that was the first book I sent her, actually. So that was the first time working with her. So I get why she was nervous. And then I changed it, because she gave me a whole, in this essay, I will, but it was a legitimate one. And she gave many, many reasons as to why it does not make sense. Take it out.
Take it out.
And so I did it. And that was better than me publishing it and having people say, this doesn't make sense. 1 star, 2 star, this is trash. Because it didn't make sense.
Yeah. So you don't hold on to your creative, quote unquote, vision. Like, you're not like, but that's how I wrote it, and if I change it means I'm a terrible writer.
No. I pantsed the crap out of that book.
That's interesting.
So I can see why it was like, yeah, this what happened here. I'm like, I don't know, I just came up with it. Whoop, popped in my head. But that doesn't mean that popped in my head. Does it?
Yeah.
That's not always great. Yeah. It does not mean.
Why is there an alien? I mean, from outer space, like a UFO. I'm not saying aliens. I'm saying aliens, like a UFO.
In a historical fantasy book, no, I don't know why there's a UFO coming down.
Trying for that sci-fi audience.
Yeah. Maybe
so I have some updates here. I got some updates real quick.
Updates.
So a newer book from I I don't know if I'm allowed to say
Oh,
these words, but the Shunku series. I don't know if I'm allowed to pronounce those words because of my fair skin. The Stand, the
oh, The
Stand,
Stand,
the Stand was
Stephen King.
republished. The Hobbit we said can't be because it's too old. And then
Yeah.
the Adversary Cycle series, or am I saying that right?
I
Circle,
haven't heard
Cycle.
that. Cycle.
This was author F. Paul Wilson wrote the 6 novels that make up the series from 1981 to 1982. Interesting.
Oh.
Uh, the Demons, or it's just called Demon Seed from 73. Night Life, as in Knight, that was published in
Mhm.
87 and then republished, revised. Magician,
Mhm.
Magician was 1982. So there are books. There are books. I'm sure if I did some deep searching, I could probably find newer books. But the
Yeah.
fear of publishing something that isn't perfect goes to show that even successful books that
Mhm.
weren't perfect in the author's mind, they were still. But again, you get the George Lucas moment where George Lucas goes, "I'm going to redo the original 3 movies," and he had special effects. Then he
Mhm.
redoes it again, and then he redoes it again, and he's allowed to because he's the author of that creative outlet. However, the originals exist, so you know.
Yeah. Well, I think you just have to realize that there could be, depending on how you marketed it and how many review or arc readers you got and all that stuff, that you will have old, not so great reviews or maybe blog postings, whatever, around saying that, oh, this character um, doesn't have an arc and here's the reasons why. And then you're like, oh, crap. And then so you go back in and you fix it and then republish it. That's still there. But then,
Right. I
that
agree with
could
that.
turn people off. Or some people are like, oh, I want to see for myself. And they're like, I don't get it because you fixed it.
But
They don't know.
poor reviews, especially at the beginning of your career, uh, do not necessarily indicate the end of your career. And
Hmm.
good examples of that is, even I got a 4-star review once, and in the review they go, "I saw too many 5 stars, so I figured I'd give them a 4-star, but this is a 5-star review." And I was like, "What?" So, but then
What?
also we've talked about this where people are like, I don't normally read romance, and I read this romance and I just didn't get it. I didn't like it, so I gave it 1 star. And it's like, well, A, it's not your genre. B, you're reading something outside your field. And then your review is
Mhm.
all about verbally, the copy that you use is literally why you don't like romance. Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean the book is bad though, because if you
Mhm.
like romance and it's within the, and again, my mentors always told me, don't worry about the opinions of others. Worry about your presentation. And that's where
Mhm.
PR comes in. Like, if somebody says something you did is bad, well, what about this one person that said it was good? Everybody has an opinion, everyone has a perspective. So it's just about being true to your message. And if you care about what you're writing and you talk about that in interviews, and not necessarily talk about your books, but talk about what's important to you, your emotional truths, your fan base is going to find you. And the best way to explain that is if you're a comedian and you're telling jokes, it's not about making the entire room laugh when you're starting out. It's about finding your voice and your audience, because 3 or 4 people
Mhm.
might laugh. And as you continue to develop your voice and people follow that voice, your room will be filled up to a stadium size with the people that agree with your voice. And it's the same thing with new writers, new musicians, new everybody, even new actors. You're trying to find your audience. You're not trying to appease an audience. And that's a very important thing to understand when it comes to reviews, that when your career is starting out, it's like Stephen King getting a bad review. Like, for him to get a bad review, like, there's some bias there from but his fan base is going to be like, this was the best. Or like Dream Theater. I love Dream Theater. And this is how most Dream Theater fans rate every new Dream Theater album. This is the worst album ever. I can't believe it's so different. Then by the end of the year, they're like, this is the best album ever. Because they listen to it and they start understanding that, they connect to the music. And so I think that's important as new authors or new anything to say to yourself, look, just continue to be true to your voice and continue to just put out the material that you believe in. And over time, you will find your audience. And those that write the bad reviews when you first couple of books, they will vanish because they're not going to read the second book or the third book or your 10th book. But the people who will be the ones that continue to follow you. And eventually there will be a lot of them. And then you're making some cash. Sorry. That was a rant or rave. I apologize.
That was good. Well, also there are some like lower reviews that actually help find the ideal reader. So for example, someone I know writes cozy mysteries, but it's not baking, or what is it called? Pastry, I don't, whatever. But she got a 1-star review that said there was not enough baking in this cozy mystery, but the whole point was she doesn't like the cozy baking mysteries where like the cozy based bakery cozies. Thank you. Yeah,
bakery cozies.
She doesn't write bakery cozy mysteries. She writes a different, type of cozy mystery. So the people that don't want bakery cozies will see that 1-star review and say, "Oh my gosh, yes, thank you. Okay, I'm going to get that book because I don't like bakery cozies either." So there's also like, yes, it brings down your average or whatever, but it also will bring in readers that want it, right?
I mean, I only read bakery cozies, but
yeah, sorry, you can't read her book. But that would also show people that are into bakery cozies, okay, well, I'm not going to waste my time because it's not a bakery cozy mystery. And they won't even read it. Possibly they won't even read it. And then you don't have the problem of another 1 or 2-star review ranting about how there's no more pastries in here. Yeah, where's the pastries?
But even again, that helps on the back end where it's like, oh, all right, I'm reading the bad. Oh, this is something I wouldn't be interested, so I'm not even going to buy it. Or I am only interested in books that aren't bakery cozies. But it's like Rotten Tomatoes for television and film. Like you go there and the audience's review is like an 87 or higher, and then the critiques from the critics, whatever, is like 40. And you're like, well, who do I listen to? Do I listen to the fans or do I listen to the people get paid to critique things? And it's like, why don't I just listen to myself? Did I have a desire to watch this? Let me give it a chance. Did I not have a desire to watch this? Then forget it. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to go watch certain movies if I don't have an interest in it. And I'm not going to allow other people's opinions to dictate my passion for, like most Marvel shows and movies are getting trash, but I still watch them. Because I have a connection to the Marvel world. I started in comic books, so I love comics, and I'll watch it. And yes, I may end up agreeing with some of them, but I'm not. I'm going to allow myself to guide my interests because I know not everyone looks at the world the same way. I might say I like the color red, and now I'm a horrible person. Because some people like purple, even though purple's my favorite color, but like people be like, why would you discount? So you're saying you hate red, all purples and all other colors? And it's like, no, that's not what I said. I said I like red because I in my life like red. And it's like, yes, but what about our feelings? And you're just like, they're just opinions. They don't they have zero value. Me liking red doesn't change your existence. It can't.
Especially with that very red back.
You like that? Well, I have red on my shirt, which I notice you don't have.
No, I do.
Oh, hey!
I saw. No, you changed your shirt.
I had to. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Well, I didn't shower yet because it's early. I just woke up when you were like, "Hey, 15 minutes," and I was like, "Oh."
Oh, I gotta get through some comments from
Yeah, get some
and I'm bored
comments.
here. Yeah. I had a review admit that she cut stars, leaving me with 2 out of 5 for my review because I used the unsullied maiden term. Virgin? I don't know. Another one. I guess virgin. She didn't know that uh, women's fiction and contemporary women's fiction were different. Oh, yeah. That's funny. Truthfully, she is more of a young adult fantasy reader. I've seen virgin, the word virgin in young adult fantasy. And oh, please, okay, young adult, it's been taken over by adult women, so it has gradually gotten more violent and sexual.
Should you be
So,
saying that, or should we should we use code
oh
words?
no, that's a huge topic on BookTube, Book
Oh,
Talk,
all right. I didn't know.
Twitter.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
was allowed now. All right.
yeah. No,
I didn't get the memo.
well, because the teenagers for actually young adults are being pushed out because they don't want to read so much violence and outright sex.
All right.
But then the publishing houses aren't listening to the actual teenagers because, I mean, some of them do buy the books, but who's the bigger market, quote unquote? It's like it is over 50% are now women age 30 buying young adult. So you see that weird shift of writers writing for the 30-year-old women, but it's young adult. Like, what's happening here? Yeah, it's a weird. It's weird. I can't. Um,
Hey.
and she said she was not worried at all about that young adult fantasy reader giving that 2 stars because it's the wrong genre. But yeah, there's some. I don't know. Look, nowadays, I think because of social media and how far it can reach, well, globally, people are freaking out on reviews. Um, and that is a reader who doesn't know cozy mysteries are more than just bakeries. Yeah. And I
Cozy
had, yeah,
romances are
cozy.
all.
Yeah, cozy. The term cozy is going in other genres as well, not just cozy mysteries. And people are like, I don't know what to do. People are saying, I've had a lot of people say that my urban fantasy mystery is cozy. I'm like,
You
it
gotta
doesn't.
accept it.
Yeah, I don't follow the cozy mystery anything, but go for
Yeah, if somebody says something, then it has to be true. Like you're not allowed to
it.
deny misinformation.
You can read this all fancy because you're in there.
The paid critics and those authors and critics who do cover statements often don't read the books. They get sent a few chapters and a synopsis. Then they write the best new yada yada yada. I like that. I agree.
Or they get like their assistant to read it. I've heard that before.
Hmm. There has
And
been a oh,
yes,
go ahead.
oh
Who?
no, well,
Who?
I'm just saying she knows too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They
At
all know.
least 3 years, if not more.
There has been a
At
three. Yeah,
least.
yeah. There is a discussion about PG-13 rating for the books. Interesting.
Yeah, and so there is some like valid critiques of where things are heading. So I
Agreed.
think for young adults specifically, you're gonna have to like figure out as an indie writer, I don't know about Trap, but as an indie writer, are you writing for actual teenagers?
No,
Are
I'm
you
writing a book.
writing for the 30-year-old woman?
I just
So,
write books. I don't even think about that stuff. You know, like you can't. Your voice doesn't evolve if you're like, well, what do I got to write? Like, just write what you want and then figure it out later. Like, be passionate about the stories you care about, and people connect to that. Audiences don't connect to a band that writes a song. Because if that happens, then you get a one-hit wonder. But people connect to Taylor Swift because it's not just her music. I mean, she started as country and now she's pop, right?
mhm,
But there's something bigger about her. It's like Michael Jackson. I hope I don't get in trouble for mentioning his name, but
it's fine.
Michael Jackson as an artist, not a human being. I have no opinion on that right now that I want to go public about. But the music element, like people connect and cry when they see him perform because it's not his music. There's something bigger to it. There's something pure to the message that his music is presenting. And it's the same reason we go see Steven Spielberg movies. We may not know it as an audience, but there's a lot going on in his films and stories that are relatable to certain things that are important to him, like family, the adventure stories, the way his characters are portrayed. Like all this is a part of the Stephen King brand, Steven Spielberg brand. And I think that's important to realize. But I do want to if we can do a quick aside. Didn't you have some questions that were sent to you that we should be answering? Didn't you say?
Oh, well, there is one from Eloise.
Oh, let's jump on that. Let's see what that feels like.
Yeah, she said, and this goes into a nice segue into how handling online reviews. Because, like I said, let's see, where'd it go? Because this can make or break you at this point, whether we agree with that or not. It can also. There's a whole thing of. So I'm mainly BookTube. A little bit of AuthorTube. Hi, hello, we're here doing the AuthorTube stuff. But so I personally don't want and never have, actually, 6 years on here, don't do 1 or 2 star reviews, and I stopped doing 3-star book reviews. So I just rate, I just talk about books, or I do like book reviews if it's 4 or 5-star reads, because I don't have time. Okay. Yeah. And I go for the idea that was talked about like a long time ago by Francina Simone, where you uplift the things that you love and you don't give any attention to the stuff that you don't like or that there are problems with, whatever, because there's a lot of negativity. And do you want to center your channel on just negative book reviews? That's up to you. I personally did not want to. Also because I have other jobs and they look at my social media. And then they'll be like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Are you sure you said that appropriately? Like I have bills to pay.
My twin sister.
Yeah.
I have a question to ask you about that. Being that you only do 4 and 5-star reviews on the interweb, do you find yourself reading a lot of 3-star books and or 1 or 2-star books, or do you mostly find yourself reading 4 and 5-star books?
Well, see, the thing about that is you can go and follow me or add me on Goodreads, and you can see all the stuff that I do. And then for the wrap-up videos, which is the wrap-up of books that I read, the previous month, I'll say XYZ, this book was 2 stars, give 1 sentence, and then move on.
I see.
But like you can see on my Goodreads, there's a lot of 1, 2, 3-star books. I cut out 3 stars because I'm just like, I have 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and
I can only do so much.
Yeah, they didn't do anything to impassion you to speak about.
Yeah, they were average. I don't have a problem with 3-star reviews. If someone gives my book a 3-star, it's fine because it's, for me, it's good. There's other people that are like, it's bad. But
it's bad.
So this is another thing for reviews in general. It is subjective because I think 3 stars is average. It's good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then some people think it's bad and oh my gosh, how dare you give me a 3-star? But like,
it's neither good nor bad.
I would say it's good.
Yeah, I didn't read this and go, I want to throw it out, and I didn't read this and I want to paint it on my wall. Like I read it and that's it.
Yeah. Well, so now Eloise 3 days ago said, any advice on what to do when you're tagged in a less than glowing review online? And that's probably like X or Book Talk or whatever. Where like, when I was on Twitter, I was only on Twitter for a few years and I got rid of it in 2020. No regrets. But I did see it's a dumpster fire on there, and it still is. So nothing's really changed.
That's funny.
Where there were booktubers that went and gave, a book review 1 star, and it's like 50 minutes of trashing the book and the author, and then they tag the author, and even read, like, I don't know how many people are doing it, but there are like really big book talkers and bookstagrammers and booktubers that say don't do that. Like, it was a popular thing a few years ago, and then readers collectively have said don't do that. So you see it less and less, but if it does happen, don't click it. I would say don't, just even if they say, oh, this is perfect, I wouldn't click that either. Just leave it alone, because it could be like there's a couple lines in that 5-star booktube review that you don't like, and then it ruins your day or week. But if you didn't click on that link and watch the whole 20-minute video, then nothing would have changed. So I don't interact with it at all. Don't. Mm-mm. The only time I interact with my Goodreads review is I like ARC readers that I know. Yeah. And I see them on Facebook and YouTube and Goodreads and other places, and I know their names because they're super fans, and that's why they're on my ARC team. Like, I know them, therefore I know that they love seeing that I like their 4 or 5-star review.
Okay.
But don't comment anywhere. Don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Because then people will screenshot it, and then it's going to live forever on the internet, even if you delete it, and then you're going to get shit posted or dogpiled. Was that worth it? Dogpiled? Saying, oh, I don't, yeah, the 1, 2, 3-star review. Oh, I disagree with your review, but thanks for reading. Or don't hit send and don't. It's not your problem. Don't make it your problem.
I don't know. I respond with love and compassion.
Yeah, I would say don't respond at all.
Yeah.
To anything, I don't care if it's good or bad, just don't, unless you know them in the one case.
No, I say very nice things like, I appreciate you critiquing the passion that I put my life's work into and make me reevaluate my position as an author. And I needed this kick in the butt to remind me that nobody is perfect and that I should think about having a job at a grocery store or something. And if it was not for you taking the time to show me such compassion and give me a redirect in my life, I would still be on this path to improve over the course of my career that has just begun. So thank you for that. And then I move on.
Well, that's probably different than, like, your book's already out and then you have the review up versus beta readers that are reading like a really rough draft.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, they do like a whole essay that doesn't really make sense, and you're like, thank you for your feedback, I'll take it into consideration. That's different. Yeah. But I have seen writers get really upset with beta reader feedback, but I think what gets authors in trouble the most is when they go off on readers, and yeah, good luck with that. Don't do that. It's done. You have decided to publish, and now, whether you like it or not, it is now a product, and people are going to review the product. If you didn't want that, then maybe don't have published it.
That's right.
That's kind of or you release a song, now it is a consumable product that people are going to download and have opinions on, And people are going to love it. People are going to say that it sucks. And people are going to be like, oh, that's fine. But no, I'm not really going to think about it. So a wide range. Like, you got to accept the positives and the negatives, or, you know, I would say, honestly, keep it to yourself. There are some authors that like will cry over 4-star reviews. Why? Why? Like, that, did that really ruin your whole week? That might be a little more
Doesn't make sense, you know?
Conversation.
Yeah. No one, every single person on the planet is not going to like your stuff.
And it's impossible. It's impossible to have everyone like your stuff, or you. There are some people that
wait, what?
think
No,
I'm
wait. Not everyone likes me?
Oh yeah, no. There are some people that like me. There are some people that think I'm annoying. I can't control other people's reactions or emotions. All you can control is yourself.
Wait, what?
It's yourself. Yeah. All you can control is yourself. And that means not hitting send when you did a huge essay on someone's booktube review that gave you 3 stars. Don't send it.
Look, all I'm going to say is we are not responsible for the perception of our behavior, but our behavior itself. And that's why, like, you know, I don't care if people like my stuff or not. I care about the people who like my stuff, if that makes sense. Like, those people are the ones that are coming back for more. And, you know, again, I don't want to make my fans happy. I want to just make them see the truest form of the presentation. Meaning, I'm not going to mold my creative element to their liking, but I want to make sure that I am consistent in what I do create, so they can continue to enjoy the truth of what brought them there in the first place. But people who don't like my stuff, it's not my responsibility to make you like me. It's just my responsibility to be the truest form of myself and not purposefully go out there and hurt people, and not purposely go out of my way to ruin people's lives and take away their peace. But in turn, you know, it's also not my responsibility to handle your accountability for the perception that you're having, because we're humans. You know, they do experiments all the time where they like tell somebody one sentence, you know, and then we see that sentence differently. I think there's actually a debate going on right now. What is it? The literacy thing. What is the debate about literacy?
That's news to me. Yeah, I know. Well, you see this when you do, you know, English literature or creative writing, and as a major or just like one class, you read a book, and then so many people have different opinions on it.
Correct.
That's how life is. Like, I can't. Maybe it's like 2 or 3 people reading the same book or poem, and then they might have like maybe 85% agree, but then I can't think of anything where it's 100% agree, especially the more people when it comes to art, and art is so subjective. It's just it's impossible. I can't think of a example.
This meme right here is the thing. So this is the debate, and this is the truth about opinions.
Yes.
Right? Like, if I, and by the way, I kind of agree with the argument that whatever is in the book has purpose, but not every writer writes with everything having purpose. But I believe as a writer that every sentence should have at least one or more of these 3 elements: plot, character development, world building. So every sentence should be filling that up. And then narrative momentum, meaning every sentence leads into the movement of the narrative. And a narrative is made up of plot and story. Plot is what needs to happen. Story is how it unfolds. But with that said, not all authors write like that. And if an author tells you, oh, there are blue curtains because I just like blue and I wanted blue curtains on the wall, that is the truth. But the perception of that, which is, well, the curtains were blue because they represent his immense depression and his lack of will to carry. Like, that is also true because
Yeah.
it's their perception of the art. We look at Mona Lisa and we see whatever we see, but we don't know what Leonardo da Vinci saw other than the person he was painting.
Yeah.
Art is a perception. It's once the art is created, it's out of our hands. And I would like to add to that something I would die on a hill with.
Hmm.
My intentions of a piece that has created is not your perception, and therefore I am not beholden to your perception. Meaning, if I do create a blue curtain room and you think I'm talking about hate to all people because blue represents hate to all people, that doesn't mean that I have hate for all people, but you're still allowed to have that perception because art is personal. It's personal for the
Hmm.
creative and it's personal for the onlooker. And but those two are not connected in the sense of responsibility. I'm not responsible for the way you perceive the art as you are not responsible for the way I create the art. That's my personal opinion, but
Well, I really like the Andy Warhol quote of art. Okay. And some people think that he was an artist. Hi. But I don't see how that. I think probably because a lot of his stuff is fun, and that's a different topic. But to quote Andy Warhol, don't think about making art, just get it done. Let
yeah,
everyone else decide if it's good or bad, whether they love it or hate it, while they are deciding, make even more art.
agreed. Agreed.
Fantastical.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Yeah.
a guy who literally made paintings where he took a can of soup and just changed the color of the four spots. And in reality, he did that because he was like, it shouldn't sell. I mean, this is a guy who filmed and showed an 8-hour movie of him I think it was a girl sleeping. Andy Warhol, uh, 8 hour movie. Okay. Empire called or something, right? Wait.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Eight.
I know about his that cartoonish, suit painting. But like I would say I would say that's art because even a can of soup can be turned into something pretty
Yeah.
depending on who it is. And I thought it's pretty and also just cool looking. Um, but then also another thing, uh, which is Christian Bale's quote that I heard from Tom Holland. Um, and this is for family, friends, coworkers, strangers, writer friends, everyone. I'm paraphrasing, but it's if you have a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, then you don't have a problem with me
Oh yeah.
because I'm not close enough to you that we have a conversation in depth to communicate what's going on. Like I know you enough that we can do that. Also, I gave you my phone number.
Yeah.
Or, I live with you. Oh yeah, okay, we're gonna have a conversation because I did something to upset, for example, my husband. Well, we're gonna have a sit down and we're gonna talk about it because I care about you and I didn't mean this or that, and I want to clear that up. Are you gonna do that with like a random anime character picture with
Yeah.
a random screen name that says 1 star, your book sucks ass? No, because I don't know you. Who cares?
I'd like
Who
to go on
cares?
record
Just
that
move
Nicole
on.
said that, not me.
I did.
I
My
better,
book sucks ass.
I better not
I've
get
done
any
that.
messages. If you don't have my
They're
number,
get,
I don't want to hear it.
yeah, they're gonna have my number, then they message me.
Yeah, they
They're not gonna
message
message
you.
you, they message me.
Don't
Yeah,
message
yeah.
me. By the way, that's the film I
Oh.
was talking about. So it's like it's just under it.
Oh, interesting.
8 hours. What is it? It's 6.5 hours. Oh, 8 hours and 5 minutes. So there you go. But it's just this. It's just, and he put it in theaters, and people
Good for
saw it.
him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's very moody, you know?
But that's
Gives
all
it a
it is.
nice
That image,
atmosphere.
this right here, the Empire thing. That's it.
Is it
That's,
art? I
is it
don't know. He just creating more. Who cares? He's like, I don't care. I'm just doing whatever.
is it considered? I guess it is considered because it's expression,
Yeah.
right? Art is expression. Even that's why you could dance. That's art. But I don't know. What do I know, Nicole? I'm.
We're all just here. That's what
Yeah.
we know. That is where the line between frenemy and family and friends becomes very clear. Yeah, I know. There's people. I had it in work. Oh no, but also family. Where like they're talking whatever to my mom, and my mom says, "Oh, you have a problem with her? Go call her." Oh well, I don't have her name, or I don't have her phone number, email. She's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, why are you talking to me about it? I don't care." And then or like we see each other once a month, not once a month, once a year, not anymore, but like in the past,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, and they happen to have like picked up a book of mine. They're like, well, I don't really think it's great, and so I have a problem with all this, and we need to talk about it. Well, you could have talked about it if you had my phone number,
Yeah.
but you don't.
I noticed you didn't
Why
have any
am
albino
I?
people in your book, so I don't like it.
Yeah. So we're just gonna move along. I'm gonna eat my turkeys. Thank you.
Right. By the way, there's a comment in the comment section that you're not allowed to post because you'll get a message about it.
You're confusing people with your stuff. I think
Nah, you can't. You can't because it's a comment. It's a speculation on something.
well, I'm sad to have heard that Andy Warhol was almost assassinated and then he died early, or because of the gunshot wounds.
Oh, maybe.
I'm like, assassinated. Like, why would you try to assassinate Andy Warhol? I was not growing up in the 60s, 70s, or whatever when he was creating art, so I don't know. I guess it's I don't even know.
I was in a TV show with Andy Warhol.
Are you old enough to have done that? Or are you making a joke?
No, there was an actor portraying it. I was a security guard. I was in the show Vinyl that was on HBO, whatever. And Andy Warhol's getting attacked, and I have to like hold people back and help him.
Oh yeah, bodyguard Thomas J. Bellezza.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those. Yeah.
Look at those guns. Yeah, they're empty.
Yeah,
I have
those
no
guys.
bullets. No bullets. I used to be much bigger, but I got sick, so
Oh.
Not that I'm allowed to say that.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know who had this quote. You can never tell anymore with the internet and random pictures with quotes in them. But I read the quote that I think it's really good. Like, I wish to have a library full of books where at least one book offends whoever enters the library. And I have many of those books. Yay, look at all this. And I actually now have some books on the shelf as well that's kind of empty, but we're getting there.
Can I tell you the quote? The quote says that it's Joe Goodwin. She was a librarian.
Oh.
And it goes, a truly great library contains something in it to offend everyone. Yes. And I agree with that.
That's good. Love that.
That is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be willing. What is it? It's a quote. You should be willing. you should be willing to offend. What is it? Jordan Peterson, Chatty Catty. No. So it's
Who knows?
no, wait,
That's
I
why I
have
like
it.
to say paraphrasing, because I don't even know. Because yeah, no, you know that they make those like quotes and they add whoever at the bottom. I don't know.
No, yeah,
I
right.
can't tell.
Jordan. You should be willing to offend, because to grow as a you have to risk being offensive. Uh, that's what the quote is. You
Oh,
have
that's like a
to risk
similar thing
being
to
offensive.
Stephen Fry, who said that offended me. So what?
Oh yeah,
What was
then
that?
so what?
Yeah. So
There's
what?
actually a
Yeah,
comedian
I
that
mean,
does that joke.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm offended by stuff all the time. So what?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're offended. So what? Be offended. It doesn't
Yeah,
do anything.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I can complain, but then also, what does that do as well?
Yeah, what it doesn't do anything. Like, I don't need to change your perspective. Like, it's not going to change the world. But the quote is, in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive, which is basically stating that, like, for us to grow as a society and a people, we have to be willing to think and push the boundaries to understand things and to see where those boundaries go, but also to understand why those are boundaries. And I think it's important for conversation, because without that, we become silent. We become, walking emotionless walls of nothing. And there's no fun
Hmm.
you can't write books then. You can't create
No.
music, you can't create art. You can I remember painting in art history, paintings would get people killed, and they were just paintings.
Mm,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, there was also just recently a thing about the statue of David, that it was offensive because it's a nude guy. It's a
Hmm.
statue.
Yeah. Mm.
I mean, it's like it's a 12 foot high
It's pretty
statue.
big.
It's pretty big, you know. That's what she said. But
Yeah,
like,
it's a big, kind of in your face,
yeah, so
but
it was
it's
like
still
big.
art.
It's still art, and
And people think that the statue of David is trash for whatever reason, not whatever. But that's their opinion. Whoever do we know who created the statue of David?
Michelangelo.
Oh shit. Sorry, Michael. Um, but is Michelangelo, and I'm sure maybe he got, crap for it because it was, it's there, in his time, but
Uh,
there are pieces of art that stand the test of time, and he's probably, um, or the people that were saying that that was offensive when he was creating it, or let it out into the world, are probably the same people now that are saying, oh, we have to censor the statue of David because it's too much. But that obviously didn't hold him back, because that piece is iconic, just like the Mona Lisa, and no one understands. I mean, and there's hypotheses on what the Mona Lisa is trying to portray or whatever, but you can't really pinpoint it because it's art. Like, I'm sure there are some theories, but that doesn't. I don't know if you can really do theories. Hot take of art. You can do it for science and math. I don't know about art.
but art is opinion. Again, it brings it to opinion. Like, art is subjective, not objective, whereas science is mostly objective, where some things are subjective. But the fun, interesting thing about the statue of David is that Michelangelo was offered the
Mm,
colossal block of marble. Somebody gave it to him to make the statue of David. And originally, that block of marble was previously worked on by two other artists in 1464 and 1475. So
mm.
that's pretty interesting. Uh, it's also 17 feet high.
Ooh my.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's yeah, I also something to keep in mind for let's go, for literature. There's all like find your favorite book and then just look at the 1 and 2 star ratings. Like you think this
Yeah.
book is perfection. And like maybe it's Stephen King, like, hello, whoa, Stephen King.
What?
He gets people that hate his works. I mean, he's living it up.
What?
But
For fun, you
so
want to see Stephen King bad reviews? Stephen King. Stephen King. What's his newest book that came out? Holly, right? Or something like that?
Fairy Tale?
I think it was
He
Holly.
has a few. There's Fairy Tale and Holly.
All right, well, let's look at Holly. Here we go. Here we go.
And
Yeah, I will share the screen so people can see that I'm not making up what I am reading.
there's some very interesting ones, but that is objective.
So let me start
Yeah,
out
see,
by saying I am a huge Stephen King fan and collector. I am fully COVID vaccinated, and I am not a Trump supporter. That being said, I think King went way overboard with his COVID opinions. I mean, COVID is mentioned in almost every few pages in the book. I get it. We all get it. Some of us got it. COVID was bad. I added that last part. But to bring it up constantly added nothing to the story. If he would have left the COVID stuff out, the book probably would have only been half its length. All right, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but that's kind of funny. Here's another
that's
one.
a lot.
Too political. Yeah, I know. This is the funny thing. People that hate books write these massive posts, and then people who love books,
Yeah.
right? Like,
No, that's the same for like there
well,
was
that's
a
pretty big actually. But
like a erotica novel where it's like it's a 1 star and it's a huge essay on analyzing the erotica alien story, and I'm like, it's an alien erotica story. I don't know if you need to analyze this in a literary manner. But I don't think that that's the point.
I know.
Okay. Like
Yeah, it's not.
that's just my opinion though. If you want to write 3,000 words on the alien erotica, you do you, but if I was the writer, I'd be like, that's fine. I'm not I'm not looking at it. That is not I'm not writing this to be a classic in 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. And to the point of Stephen King here, I'm a huge King fan, and I love Holly. But the thing is, the percentage of reviews is also important. Like
Mhm.
if you're got like 5% bad reviews, like it's not that big of a deal,
No.
especially if you have like 500 to 1,000 reviews. Like, but us writers, us creatives, will focus on the bad reviews. But in
Yeah.
reality, like, look, Stephen King gets them too. I think this is a book Mr. King felt he needed to write. I believe he needed to write all his books.
Yeah.
He had to make his thoughts and feelings about the past few years known, etc., etc. But if we go back up, look, 66% gave
3%.
5,
Mhm.
22, right? It's a 4.5 out of 5. That's pretty good, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's out of 27,000 global ranking. That's a pretty good rank,
Mhm.
right? So, in
Yeah.
reality, like if you're looking at numbers like this for yourself, I get it, you know? Like these three don't matter in this situation because this is what matters. The
Mhm.
majority like the book.
Yeah.
If you really have to care about critiques and reviews and feedback, think about it in percentages. If 10 people come up to you and 6 of them like it and 4 have various degrees of dislike or like, it's not that important.
Mhm. Yeah, well, one of them that's really interesting that has a really, really low uh, ratings and reviews. I give it 5 stars. So type in nothing but blackened teeth.
Nothing. One second.
I don't think you're typing.
Whoop. I'm trying to make it
Oh,
small. What is it
oh
called?
yeah.
What is it called?
Oh, that's teeny. Nothing but blackened teeth.
nothing but blackened teeth. This one?
Oh, did it get better? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's go.
It got a little better.
Let's see.
Uh,
Whoa! Whoa! What's going on? All right. So,
I don't know what you do. So it's something like that.
well,
She's
this has bad reviews.
yeah. 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 This one is interesting. I gave it 5 stars. The majority
On
of people
Amazon?
on Goodreads. I did a review on it too. But people are still buying it, I guess, to see if how bad they think it
Jeez,
is.
look how long that is.
Yeah, that's long. And it was hyped up. I don't know. When was this? This was a while ago. People still keep buying it because it's like you see the review, it's like 3.3 on Amazon. It's way lower on Goodreads. I think it's like almost a 2.9 or so. Oh, yeah, it's not good on Goodreads. I don't know what happened. I didn't think it was that freaking bad, but I think also what is happening is when people see stuff that's low, they want to see for them personally if it's good or bad. And
Have you heard
that's
of this
probably
author?
what's going on. Oh yeah, it's me. Okay.
See, look, you got 13 reviews, right?
Oh, thank you.
You only have 1 2-star.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what that was. I want to. Oh, I like reading. Yeah, let's make it bigger for people because I know.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right. I won a copy
Here we
through
go.
Goodreads giveaway, and here is my review. I guess they have to say that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this was 2021. I don't recommend the Goodreads giveaway for historical fiction because I paid like $119 to send out, 100 free ebook copies, and one person
Well, that's
left to
terrible.
read. Yeah, that's not good. I don't recommend it for historical fiction, though I've heard a lot of people say it's great for romantasy. Depends on the
All right.
genre. I
All right.
would not do the giveaway,
All right. That's fair.
Goodreads giveaway specifically.
All right. Well, let's read
Not because
the review.
not because it's 2 stars. It's because one person out of 100. That's not good.
Now,
Doesn't matter the rating or review. Only one
let's go
person.
there. Let's see how you handle feedback gracefully. You ready? This
Go for
book
it.
had a lot of potential and interesting premise, but ultimately suffered from inconsistent pacing and too much telling, not enough showing. For instance, when the main character faced internal conflict throughout the story, we didn't have the benefit of her internal dialogue to clearly understand what she was thinking, but instead, we're given dialogue with other characters where she states everything she was thinking and feeling. Before we go any further, just to clarify
Mhm.
as the terminology, uh, internal dialogue is telling still. So for her to say that internal dialogue would have been showing, that's not technically correct. Uh, so internal or external dialogue is telling, showing is just through the presentation of emotion. Anyway,
Mhm.
or other things. This led to her character feeling very wish-washy instead of conflicted and complex, making her decisions and actions hard to follow. The dialogue itself felt very cartoonish, but lacked the visuals to support the world building within the different settlements. Similarly, the romantic subplot fell flat because without the character going, I like you because, it was unclear that these were anything more than friends. All right, so without going any further, how do you handle writing feedback gracefully?
Oh, just an opinion. Because I have other people that say the opposite.
Well, no, I know, no.
I know some like,
This video is about handling it
there we
gracefully.
go.
So, are you?
Yeah.
So you're looking at it going, I don't care about it because ultimately
Well,
there are
I
people.
know. Yeah. I know that everyone has a different opinion, and some people say that it's fast paced. Other people say it's slow. Other people say it's just right, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
That's what, like, if my editor and my fans enjoyed it, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it looks weird when um there's not any 3, 2, or 1 stars.
Well, I'll say this much. Uh,
Because it's impossible for everyone to like it. There could be like, I haven't gotten my books enough out there, so that's like, an an idea. Um, and probably a big reason why my ratings are pretty high considering, um, on Goodreads. On Goodreads, I haven't
Good
gotten
reads.
enough people, to leave reviews or whatever, or on their own free will.
Well,
Um,
Amazon, I
but
have a good return on the reviews, but Goodread, I only have the
yeah,
3. But
yeah.
do you want to read my poor review?
Okay. Well, this
Can
is from
you?
2019. It's been a while.
Okay.
This is not an attack on non-traditional formatting of poetry text. It is an appeal to all poets that they swing a razor blade enthusiastically at their work. So, in Bellezza's own words, the poetry can be freeing. I don't know what that means.
His
So,
review.
I wouldn't really.
Whoa, it's not even there anymore. Is it?
Yeah, I don't. And that, like, if that's like the case, I'm like, well, I don't. Okay. If I
Okay.
don't understand something, then I'm just gonna move on. I'm not gonna think about it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what his long-winded review was basically saying. It said that I should have allowed every poem to have its own page. Um, but there's like 200 and something anyway, they're long poems and short poems. There's some
Yeah.
poems that are only 3 sentences,
Mm.
and
Oh
it's
yeah.
the poetry book. I mean, it's pretty thick, you know. So
Yeah.
uh, this was after I had beaten cancer. Uh,
Hmm.
I made a promise to myself to just collect all the poems I had written since like 2002 or whatever it was, and put it into a tome of
Hmm.
poetry, lyrics from my music days, and then philosophical thoughts from the perspective of the God character in my novels. Uh,
Hmm.
so I'm not. If you see, they're just written out on the page. I
Yeah.
didn't. I wasn't gonna give. You know how many? It's already 200 and whatever, 215 pages ish. I'm not. You know how
Hmm.
big the book would be if I gave every poem and lyric
Oh,
its
that's like
own
a
page.
formatting thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's also like critiques, not even on the writing, but like how maybe the format is, and they disagree on a formatting, whatever. It's like, skip up. Don't be upset with that.
yeah.
They want, oh, I prefer to have this and that in the formatting. Like, but they a lot of readers don't. I would say maybe probably most readers don't understand how to format a book. So like they think of like cool, quote unquote, cool ways to format something, but it doesn't work in the
Hmm.
formatting tools.
Hmm.
Like, it's like, or you have to get a really, really expensive formatting tool, and like, no. Like, I wish I could have decked edges, but they don't. That's not available for
Oh.
uh,
Well, just send them to me.
indie
I'll do it for all
books.
of them. Uh,
Yeah, formatting is not. They're so if something, um though probably when, because I do my own formatting, I do know, I give some leeway. But if it's a traditionally published, or more like a small press book, and they
yeah,
have formatters to do it for you, and it's messed up, I'm like, what are we doing here?
yeah.
And I've seen that a
That's an
few
issue.
times. It's a little bad. It's a little
I
bad.
agree with that. I will say
That's
that
not the story. That's the product.
people charge a lot of money for formatting. I should do it for people. I have the
I
program.
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Atticus. I do it myself.
Oh, you use Atticus? I use the
Hmm.
Adobe InDesign.
Oh, those are hard. It's hard to. I don't like it. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna cry.
This is scary.
Yeah, yeah. For text messages, I just do italics. I don't.
Yeah,
Because when they have for Vellum and now Atticus, they have the text bubbles, and so many people are having so much problems with those text bubbles that it's taking hours. And Vellum, they've had it for a while, so it's not like it's a new feature. No, I'm not doing that. You can just get the simple version um, of the text message is italicized. That's how you do it. I would be
in a
upset.
screenplay, you actually just write in parentheticals text, and then you put it
Uh-huh.
in italics underneath it.
Yeah. But see, like stuff like that is not the story, like the actual story. It's like stuff that I mean, it could well, for trad and small press. I don't. I really don't think that the author has control over how to do the formatting. So like that is kind of like off of your shoulders. And if so, you see, uh, your trad or small press book released, and there are people saying that it's the formatting is weird, or I could even argue there's typos. I don't think that that's really 100% on the author
I
because
mean,
that gets
typos are,
through.
because that means they didn't
No,
go
because
through
then
an
you have
editor.
the editor. No, because you have the editor.
Oh, I see.
Okay, the problem though lately with trad publishing, I would say like the past 5 or more years, the developmental and line edits are not there.
Yeah, 100%.
But then would that be the writer's fault? I don't.
Yeah, because they're making the
Ah.
choice not to do it.
No, but the agent, editor, and publishing house is saying, "Oh, we don't really need developmental edits.
Oh, well, that would be
Push
on
the
the
book out."
publisher then. That would be on the
Yeah,
publisher. The
yeah,
agent's job isn't necessarily to clean up the book. The agent's job is to make sure it's fine tuned, like, but they have you do it. But ultimately, a publisher has to be like, this is what I would release, and they have their final say with
yeah.
those things.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. When it comes to formatting, I've
It's
seen
tough. Okay.
self-published books where they do like to compensate for the center, and then like every chapter it's like you keep turning the page, and like the box of words is so far to the right or so far to the left, and it's just like
Mm.
instead of being straight on the
Oh, they did
page.
the margin
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Mm.
they did the mark, and you're just looking at it, and you're like, "This is not straight on the page." It just keeps jumping like it's a leapfrog, and it's just there's this huge space. So
Yeah, there's like outright errors where then it's like it's so distracting I can't read the story. And I would say that would be more justified than, oh, I don't like this character, 2 stars, because that's subjective. Though, like if something like if they really messed up the margins of a book, like you were saying, and it's so distracting that you can't even finish, or
oh
you
yeah,
can't get like that's I would say a little not as subjective.
it's a headache.
Um
Do I have
yeah.
one? Let me see if I have one.
So there are authors, I would say, uh for those watching, there are some technical things that you do need to get right because you're all releasing a product and it has to look professional and it has to be readable or else you then
Readable.
can't get yeah or else then you can't get into the story to then subjectively look at the story and how that is. um
That's why my first
it is
page just says what it is, and then it says now you can read it if you want.
well, yeah.
It prepares them.
Like the
It's a summary
title.
of the story. It goes, by the way, this, and all these things are going to happen. By page so and so, this is going to happen. And also, just so you know, there's some things in there that might upset you. So you don't have to read the book beyond this page.
Well, like a lot of people do that now, especially with dark romance and fantasy and extreme horror. um
Well, yeah, but
and
it's
some
expected.
poems.
Like if I'm reading a horror book, like I'm expecting horrific things. You know what I'm saying? But if
I
I'm
guess
reading
those are
like
for the ones that are getting into it. I don't know. I read splatterpunk, so
yeah, but if you read a book where it's middle school or even if it's a kid's book and the title of the book is uh The Rabbit's Way Home, and then you're reading it and it's like the rabbit is out in the field eating food. The rabbit is playing around in the field. The rabbit is running away from a big bad wolf. the, the wolf,
well, that's a surprise.
the wolf the
Scary.
rabbit gets closer and closer to her home. The wolf rips the rabbit in half.
Oh no.
Like you're like, whoa, like that deserves a warning. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing in the marketing is saying that that's about to
Yeah, yeah.
happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you're reading a fantasy book and you're scared of dragons, and they're
Well,
like,
I
hey,
don't know if there's
1 star, 1 star. They did not
Bam.
warn me that there were dragons in the book titled "The Beast of the Dragon."
No, there was on one of my favorite authors. I forget which book it was. I'm not even gonna look because she has so many books. But there's this one review that said, "This is a great historical fiction book, but I don't give historical fiction more than 2 stars."
That's amazing.
So
That's absolutely amazing.
authors, that would be a review that you're laughing at because what? That should not hurt your feelings. That just does not make sense. If there was something where like 2 stars on my urban fantasy mystery book, I don't read this at all. But you know what? I guess it's okay. Like that's hilarious.
It's
Not
crazy.
for you, but it happens all the time on Goodreads. I don't even know what that means. This is where I would be like, I would sit down with that person as a reader and say, so why are you reading historical fiction if no historical fiction can get above 2 stars? Logically, you would think that that's how that works. However, people are weird, and we just we just move on from that review. I know. Yeah. Oh my God, it's a historical fiction book about Ireland. 5 out of 5 stars. I love Morgan Llewellyn. Yeah, see the
Yeah.
difference.
But I'm gonna have to give it a 2 star
Because it's historical
because it's
fiction.
the book is absolutely a 5 out of 5, but because it's historical fiction, I will have to give this bad
Give
boy two
that.
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, it
Yeah.
can't get that 5 star or even 4 or 3. I don't know. That one just blew my mind. That was from a few years ago, and I can't not think about it on at least once a month.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I've gotten a review from the band once where that starts off. It's like they came to see Tenebra or whatever, and in the review they're describing like their experience. They're like, we walked in and out of nowhere the lights went out and there was just a hum, and then
Mm-hmm.
an operatic song started playing, like because we had like an intro song, and I didn't know what was going on until the room until the room transformed from a venue to the dark past of the the Renaissance and and castles of old, right? And then they're just like, and then there was just a haunting appearance of of characters playing
Uh-huh.
doom metal. And then like it was all this
Very
great like
artsy.
immersion, and then it ends with, but it just wasn't my thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot, when you get to the finished uh, art piece becomes, you put it in together with the formatting and book cover, and
Yeah,
here is the book. Comes a product. There's just, it's impossible,
it's
y'all,
impossible. It's
for
impossible.
people to everyone to love it. It's just not going to happen. I think when you remember that, it gets a little easier with time. Like
Yeah.
statistically, it is impossible. You're going to have stuff that you're going to have reviews or people saying that it's not good or it sucks or like, oh yeah, I mean, it's okay, but like, eh,
But
as
imagine,
well as the positives.
yeah, but imagine, right? Just
Positives.
imagine if you wrote your next book based on all the negative suggestions saying there's not enough this or you didn't do this or you didn't do, you would lose your writer's voice that you're working to develop. Because even though you probably have 1 million books written, okay, the next book still is a process of learning and developing your voice. Your voice is always developing. So if you start altering your path to perfection for you, you're going to
Mhm.
lose that and it's going to be flat. And you can't, but this is the issue. You're going to run into people that go, I wish there was more romance. Oh, you know what? I wish it was more explicit. Oh, you know what? There wasn't enough cursing. Oh, I noticed you didn't have spaceships. And you're like, but it's medieval fantasy. Yeah, but like I like spaceships. All right, but this isn't the book to read then. You should read sci-fi. Well, sci-fi bores me because there's no dragons. And you're like, okay, well, why don't you write that book then?
Yeah, you rate that 5 genre mix and see how that's going to
Yeah,
go.
you know?
Um, well, that's also good to segue into alpha and beta readers and
Yeah.
how you have way more than I do. I started off having them and then I kept getting edits like, or like Sarah and other editors that I worked with, and readers that were like, yeah, all makes sense and can't really say much. Here's some line edits. Like
You're so
I
fly.
write pretty clean. Like it wasn't the case when I was younger, but I've grown so much that I write pretty clean. There's not really like glaring plot holes or anything like that. Um, so I've dropped the beta and alpha readers. Also, I think I did do stuff uh, a little differently because I was on Wattpad for about 3 years, and that's an online serial platform where you upload a chapter, however many you want to do in like a
Yeah.
week or whatever, it's on you. And then people comment, and it's completely different than like what you should be doing on Goodreads or Book Talk, where the readers on Wattpad, for the most part, want you to interact with them in the comment section of this chapter, book, whatever.
Yeah.
And so there would be like full blown debates or arguments under people's chapters from readers. And sure, there are some authors that went off the rails. You shouldn't have called them a piece of crap, blah blah. You did, like, so you got in trouble for that. Don't do that. All right. But
That's
the
fine.
readers liked, for the most part, the discussions, but that is not what you do on Goodreads. Okay, that's not what you do on Twitter. And that's also where I got a lot of feedback for Patriot's Tale
Oh,
and
I
the
see.
Two Foxes. So that was kind of like my beta
That
readers
would be your beta
because
readers, yeah.
yeah, so like that was all free. I did all that for free. They got free stuff all the time.
Yep.
And I had, and I've said this a few times, like for example, for a Patriot's Tale, Lily doesn't end up with, a certain
What?
person. I know it's amazing. And so
I'm
uh
still reading the
I'm
book.
so sorry. And so I've had like a lot of, not a lot, but enough where it's like they're probably teenagers because it's usually teenagers to like early
Yeah.
20s saying, you didn't put Lily with this guy. I hope you jump off a cliff and die, Nicole.
Well, that's
And
understandable.
it's like that, yeah. And so people would say, oh my gosh, that is a horrible critique. I'm like, it's not a critique. They're just being mean. You
Yeah.
That's not at all a critique. I think people need to also remember what is a critique, what's in a review opinion.
Yep,
Like,
yep, yep.
because you can have a review with critiques in it, but saying jump off a cliff and die,
That's a request.
that's a request that I'm not going to fulfill.
Yeah. I would say, though,
Differences, people.
alpha readers are good for the technical element and beta readers are good for the experience element. And with and this is no knock to you, trust me. Your books aren't complicated. They're rich stories with depth and character and movement, but they're not complicated story. Like there's not a lot of like I don't have to figure things out. You know,
No, it's
like
not a Brandon Sanderson
exactly.
1,000-page book, which I'm not doing a
Yeah.
1,000-page book, y'all. Not gonna get that
100%.
from me.
And
That's in depth.
100%. And I'm writing an epic fantasy where there are definitely two protagonists, point of views. So there's Devious and Aaliyah. But then there are these overarching subplots. And it's an epic fantasy, so it has to build on the saga to come. Plus, it's building on the story as is. And you need alpha readers, at least I feel I do. I need alpha readers to make sure that they're seeing those things and they're clear. I don't care about their experience reading it because they're reading a very foundational version of the book where I'm not doing a lot of immersion. It's there, but they're reading my zero drafts, like my cleaned up zero drafts. And then once they okay that everything makes sense and like the choices make sense and the characters are being true to themselves and you know they're telling me because I ask them a lot, I go, what's the plot, or what do you think is happening, you know? Once all that is clear, then I go back and I write the book. I keep all that foundational
Mhm.
stuff and then I dress up around it, and then I give it to beta readers and then I don't care what their thoughts are on if things are working or not because I already know it's working. So I just focus on, are you enjoying it? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? And usually that's just experience though. Like, oh, I don't like this character. They're too funny, or this character's too serious, or I don't like that A,
Mhm.
B, and C happens. Like that's all their experience questions. And I think that's important. But at the end
Mhm.
of the day, it's your creative outlet, and their feedback is not designed to be the solution. It's designed to get you to think and potentially adjust or assimilate
Mhm.
their thoughts into the product. But, you know, I've seen full films, be destroyed because the audience was like, they do like audience reviews, like before they release
That's
something.
the that's the Stepford Wives from 2004. They ruined that movie
Yeah.
because it was not the same as the book. They had that panel, and the panel
Yep.
audience said at the end, you need to change the ending because we don't like it.
Yep. And they
That's not
did.
the point of the Stepford Wives. Like, it wrecked. Oh my gosh.
But that happens all the time. Though sometimes it does help a film, but
Mm-mm.
Star Wars, before Star Wars came out, like they showed it and everyone was like, you can't do this, George. You got to change things up and you got to add stuff. And he was getting advice from what I would consider alpha readers because they were Steven
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg. They were other directors going, you need to connect things. Things aren't making sense. And that's what an alpha is doing, is they're basically telling you foundationally, does it work? But then the
Right.
the audience is just, am I enjoying it? Did I like the outcome? Did I like the beginning? Do I like the characters? Sometimes that can destroy a thing and sometimes it could help a thing. It's just your job as a creative is to listen and just remember that it's not what needs to happen. It's just I don't see the book like they do. I can't. I'm too connected to the book
Mm-hmm.
to be a non-biased audience. I can't. Of course, I'm going to read. I've been how many times do you read your own book before you publish it? You know what I'm saying? Like you
A
have to
lot.
read and write. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just like once it's done, I'll never read it again. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very rare that I even listen to my own music anymore. You know, like what I'm saying? Like because during the editing process and during the live shows, you're playing these songs a lot.
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with writing. So you have to get someone to come in. But I think that's the big fear, though, with alpha and beta readers is, well, what if they don't like it? It's okay if they don't like it. But what
Mhm.
if they want me to change things? They could want you to change things all day. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to. Like, you're in control. They can't change it unless they do a fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the other thing with traditional publishing. They feel like if they get notes, we talked about this before the show started. Before you get notes, I have to put the notes that they give me. And it's not true. You have to
No.
be willing to listen to the notes and be
Mhm.
willing to think about the notes and to put some time into the idea of the notes. But at the end of the day, you don't have to implement the notes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
with my editor, she's had people curse her out
who?
for her my editor.
Oh, your editor. Oh,
Yeah. She's had writers curse her out and like not follow like any of her advice, whatever. And then I
yeah.
don't know what happened, but and that's why she was like, "Oh my god, thank you so much for not doing that to me." But I looked at the story for the two foxes and I looked at her whole essay and I was like, "Yeah, I chose to do that because I wanted a better story.
Yeah.
Do I want the story that it was and like change nothing?" And it would not. I look back and I'd be like, "It wasn't good."
Yeah.
The
And that's
two
hard to do
foxes
as a
that I
writer.
published, yeah, the two foxes that I published is what she, said, take this and this out. It's better.
Yeah.
So you have to make that decision, especially if you're indie, like you are hiring the people, but that also means that it's on you. um and like you hire an editor and they give you notes, like you don't do any of it,
Yeah.
like not even like line notes. Like what are you doing then? Like what are your goals then? And then you publish that book and you're getting not great feedback. Well then maybe think about the choices that were made and what can you do to fix it. That doesn't happen all that much, but I've seen it. And that's where it's like, that's a little,
Well,
you didn't listen to any
why
feedback.
didn't
Like,
you listen to me? Uh, I'm a developmental editor, and one of the things I run into the most with clients is I'll say, and I'll explain what I'm saying to them, but I'll say something like, uh, hey, you're writing a lot of telling, and this is why it's telling, and it seems like exposition that you could break up and fuel and seed throughout the novel and allow people to kind of
mhm.
piecemeal it together. And they'll go, so I'm a bad writer. And I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I go, it's just a lot of things are happening, but nothing is happening, meaning nothing is being earned, nothing is breathing out. It's just like, I
Mhm.
need you to know these characters are these things. So I'm going to give you a chunk of exposition. I want these characters, I want to show that these characters love each other. So I'm going to create one chapter that shows them being very lovely to one another. And then that's it. And you're like, no, we don't create scenes and chapters to define traits. Traits are defined through the story because they are those things. So if
Mhm.
you're creating a scene or a chapter to say, I want to show that this character's friendly, then we
Mhm.
already we automatically know that that's a wasted scene. And the only way to make it useful is what is the purpose of that scene beyond I want to show this character is likable. More so, now that that's your intent, you should show over the course of the narrative the character being likable. And a lot of times I get pushback on that, and they usually refer to the so you think I'm a bad writer, or well, how am I gonna? It's there. I already did that, and I'm like, well, it's not there because this is why. Like I do not see the character being brave ever, but everyone else is telling that character they are brave. Like that's a big
Mhm.
deal. What do you
Yeah.
mean? I go, well, if character A is going, did you know so and so is brave and strong and really great at their sword fighting? and then you never see them brave or great at sword fighting until the very end of the book and third act, that's not interesting. Like nothing happened. It's just
Yeah.
people dictating what you need to believe, and that is telling.
Mm-hmm.
That's pure telling. But showing is just allowing characters to breathe. And that's the other thing, if I may, because I'm actually still
No.
perturbed with that review about your book. Is like you it's show sometimes tell. Like you have to
Mm,
tell for context, but you should be showing the majority of it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can't be like Nicole sat in her chair, fidgeting with her pencil, waiting for the answer to come to her head for the test she's taking that is due tomorrow. They're showing and telling in that paragraph,
yeah.
and you need it for the fidgeting and this and the twirling in the chair to make relevant sense. Oh,
See,
I'm
that's why
upset.
we're hang out. That's where we hang out. Well, the review of his poetry book, it didn't make sense, so I was like, okay, pass. Like
I know.
that review, the link isn't even there, so I'm like,
Yeah,
pass. Next guy, just
pass.
chilling. But yeah, oh yeah, no, for a Patriot's Tale, there's a lot of conversation about logistics in war, but that's what happens in the war room,
Yeah, you can't
and you
show
might
people
not get
going.
it. Yeah, and you might not. Well, actually, a lot of people probably don't get that
Yeah.
because they're not in the military or they're not like military brats or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But you see, like Bernard Cornwell, he does that because you have to show here's the logistics of how to get food and armor and the people to this particular
Yeah.
spot, and then what's the strategies on how to win, and then let's go do it, and is it going to be successful or not, or like who knows
But
until later
but
in the month or whatever.
yeah.
That's that I you could say that's telling,
But
but
it's not. The
or
reason
it's
it's
not.
not telling is because you're showing characters work through the process of the
Mm,
plan, because the things they come up with shows their brain at work. Because like you said, oh, we got to figure out the food, get the food to us.
mm-hmm,
If they don't think about the food, we know they have a limited perspective on the long game of war. If they don't
mm-hmm,
understand strategy, showing strategy is explaining what to do. Like that's the
mm-hmm,
quote unquote telling, but you're really showing their mind work. All right, when the battle comes in, this is what we need. We need to set up some hay piles over there, but make them large enough to feel like storage for the horses and cows in the field. But we're going to stick some of the archers in there with crossbows and arrows. When the arrows are going
yeah,
off, let the arrows be the backup for the crossbows, because the crossbows get longer. And like now, that's showing the character's process,
mm,
but it is telling what's going to happen. But that's the thing, you're seeing how they came up with the plan.
mm-hmm.
Now obviously, if you had said, and I'm this is arbitrary, but if it was like the character sat there and worked out strategic ideas to best combat the opponents coming in the next few days, that's telling.
Ah,
Because we're not
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of authors and readers don't 100% know telling versus showing, and you're going to get both. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, but you're getting both. It's impossible to do 100% either way, I would say.
Well, because
Um,
100% showing is confusing and
yeah,
100% telling is not immersive.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, but I had a friend read my prologue, and their first couple lines was, "Oh, it was all telling and no showing." So then I simply said, "What is telling?"
I know.
And they couldn't explain it. Hey,
Hey,
Emma.
hi, Emma. And hi, Thomas.
Hola.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think people don't know what telling versus showing is.
they
So
they don't. They don't know
so
at all.
when also like there are just some things as a writer or just an artist, you hear about so much and you're familiar with like actual stuff
Writing
going on,
terminology. Yeah.
and you're just like, okay,
Yeah. Like,
and you just
yeah.
move on. Like that review, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think I I have that I'm sure like if there's other people that, you know, have read the book and they'll think the same way or whatever. But for the majority of readers and my editor and me think that it's a both telling and showing book for XYZ reasons and they love it or they enjoy it, then it doesn't matter if some
Well, yeah.
people don't agree.
I
Because
mean,
it's not going to happen that they're going to all agree.
yeah, there was a painting that was like, I don't know, 20 by 20-foot canvas, and it was all white, and it sold for $1 million. So, I mean, some people are going to like things and some people aren't, you
Yeah.
know, like that's just the reality. But we also run into the issue where people don't know what pacing is. Like, it's very, even writers have a difficult time explaining what pacing is, or agency. What is agency? Like, and then when you read reviews where they're like, the pacing was weird, and then they explain what was weird about the pacing, and you're like, that is not pacing. They're not talking about pacing. You know? Oh, look, Emma knows the painting I'm talking about.
See, look, oh my God, everyone has their own opinion of art. Love to
See?
see it.
Hey, listen.
We love it.
Uh,
I like the painting made of cats. Where's the painting?
no,
Oh,
it's
like
made by cats. The cats
like
paint.
cats.
Yeah, they paint it. There's
Like the
also
cute
paintings by
little.
an elephant and a dog, I believe.
I like the elephant one.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
cute.
There's a lot of trunk space. But
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I saw it. They just do this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that's art. Let's go. I like elephant art.
Let's do it. Let's do it. You know. But you know, I think that's also important to realize is that some reviews, again, you know, to handle it gracefully, the feedback is to
Mhm.
realize that sometimes people are seeing things that they're not actually seeing, but they are seeing something. You know, and
Mhm.
that's important with a beta reader too, because there's different kind of responses. Like a beta reader might say, I don't like that the character wears a hat," and that's not a valid response. But if the beta reader goes, "I don't know what it is, but I'm just uncomfortable with that character," that's a valid response, because
Mhm.
it's not, the specific things they don't like are probably not true, but the broader understanding of things is probably true, you know? Um, but again, let's go back to pacing real quick. I have people
Yeah.
tell me before they even read the prologue, they go, "It's 7,000 words. That's a long prologue. Is that even a prologue?" And I go, "Yeah, because a prologue's not about length, just like chapters could be one word. Like, you know, a prologue has a purpose." And they're like, "All right." And then they read it. They go, that was a quick read. The pacing was fast." And I go, "I don't think the pacing was fast, but it is a quick read because again, you know how I write. Everything leads into itself, so
Mhm.
it doesn't take a lot of meandering. But but that's also an interesting thing is like they think, well, if I read this fast, if it moves quickly, it's quick pacing, but that's not what pacing is. You know, like reading something fast.
Yeah. It's like what I think of pacing is moving the story forward where it makes sense. And sometimes, like, you know, that's going to depend on the person.
Ah,
But like for like Anne Rice, her focusing on uh what a castle looks like and it's 10 pages long of describing the castle and the grounds, she thought that that had to be in there to move forward, or maybe she was like, I just like it. I don't know, but I wouldn't do that. I would
yeah,
maybe do like a page if we were talking about a
one
castle,
whole
but like I
page.
wouldn't be 10 pages, right? But that's different pacing for her gothic vampire story, which usually gothic vampire stories are a little slower. So it also depends on the genre as well. Like if you're pushing, like I would say for mysteries, if you're going past, give or take, okay, it's not an exact science, but going past 350 pages for a mystery, you're going to lose me, because how much can you stretch a mystery? Unless you have
The mystery.
multiple unless you have multiple subplots of, like, let's say there's a main mystery and then there's two subplots that connect to the main mystery. Okay, but if it's just one sub or one plot of a mystery, why is this 500 pages?
Yeah.
Where are we going here? That's
Well,
not just pacing. That's just like, oh, I just want to put things in there. And then it's lost in the point of the whole concept and where are we going with this.
but also,
So I have,
fast and slow pacing is not a good or bad thing.
yeah. Well, a lot of people will say, oh, it's too fast or it's too slow or
Yeah,
the
but
pacing is weird.
that might be a thing for a moment, but sometimes you need slow pacing and sometimes you need
Yeah.
a quick pacing, and to control that. By definition, pacing, by the way, is, if you're teaching it, it's just the speed at which information is presented. That's all pacing is, the speed at which information is presented. So when you want to slow the pacing so that you can become a little bit more into it, like an emotional moment, you slow the pacing by allowing us to feel the characters. We go into their head a little bit. We allow ourselves to describe a little bit more, right? And that slows the pacing so we can kind of breathe in that moment. But in a fight, they always say make the pacing fast. And how do you do that? Quick, concise sentences. That, they ran into the battle, the swords were drawn, like it's just boom, boom, boom. But you need to mix pacing for a story to coherently pull the reader. So if it's too much of a slow pace, that could destroy the narrative. But again, if it's too fast, and that doesn't mean it's a fast read, but if the information's coming out too quickly, the reader can't absorb the moments and they don't get a time to kind of linger on character moments. That's why, if you're looking at the 27 chapter or 27 plot point outline that I work on, that I talk about a lot on my channel, the midpoint conflict is right in the center. But what's the thing after that? The immediate consequence. And then what's directly after that? The plot point after that? The protagonist reflects on the long-term impacts of the midpoint conflict climax. And that's because the pacing suggests that after something as intense as a climax, as the midpoint conflict, you got to give the characters and the reader a chance to take in what just happened. So you got to slow the pacing down a little bit. But again, my definition of pacing is just based on
Many years.
Yeah, but it's all,
Well,
it's also school, it's like the educational.
stuff.
But if somebody wants to be like, pacing's just how many pages a chapter is, then that's fine too. Like, does not affect me.
Yeah. You have a problem with Thomas's definition of pacing.
Please
You
email
know
my
where to
agent.
find him. Yeah. If you don't know where to find him, you don't have a problem with him. Circling back to Christian Bale quote.
That's funny. Even roller coasters have a few. That's right. They have that on purpose, because you don't want to give people heart attacks.
Yeah, it's a little too much if you go. But bungee jumping and skydiving, it's just full on. But those are really dangerous. So,
Wait, there's pacing and bungee, because you have the and then you have the woo.
Yeah, but still, people are still freaking out by both of them.
Well, yeah, some people are.
That thing can snap at any time, hypothetically. So,
well, if you don't have the rope, it doesn't even snap.
Yeah, that would.
That's just jumping.
Yeah, or like those. Skydiving. Is it gonna open or not?
I live by the fun to risk ratio.
Yeah, I don't do either. Okay, yeah. I will go on a roller coaster because it. That's better.
Yeah, my roller coaster is I'll put on the TV, I'll put the VR, and I'll just sit and that's it. I'll play roller coaster tycoon, and that's it. Yeah, but what if you don't have a parachute on at all and you jump out of the plane? Like, what,
That would be a horrible decision. Yes.
I love the stories where the people actually survive, like they hit the ground, bounce
Mm,
3 or 4 times, and they live, and they're just like, I don't know how that happened,
yeah, I don't know.
you know. But whatever, So not everyone's cool like that.
No.
But anyway,
Well,
uh, what do you know? What? How do you define agency?
uh, yeah. See, this is where I am not trained in any way because it's uh, I have the personal experience of not having agency at all, and then overcoming, and now how I have like a lot of agency, as in I get to decide, or I know I choose my own actions and I can't control other people. And I have the ability to make decisions, and I'm not beholden to other people to run my life,
Well, yeah, I mean
which
that is
is,
agency. Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I would show that in my books. Um, none, yeah. I mean, even Sarah and the Two Foxes, who's pretty meek, still has a lot of agency. Um, she's deciding to do things or not to do things, or to say something, not to do something. Um,
Wait.
and so there are a lot of um, books where all the other characters decide what the main character does, and that's where you get the, oh, this person has no agency because
Oh,
she's
the
not
passive
making, he
character.
or
Yeah, they're
she
passive.
is
Yeah,
not making any decisions. Why is she the main character?
yeah.
I'm confused
I,
because
I will.
nothing's original.
The only caveat I would add is that agency in writing, their choices have to affect the story, the narrative. So if they're
Hmm.
just like, I'm going to get a Coca-Cola over a Diet Pepsi, they technically have agency, but in the novel, they don't have agency in the story.
Yeah.
Usually get that with female characters when like a character, it's just she's just there to look pretty and be the
Yeah.
girlfriend. She doesn't have
Hmm.
agency, even though she is making choices. She's like, "No, I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
home today, or I'm gonna order something to eat." Like she has agency over herself, but she doesn't have agency within the narrative because she's not directly affecting the narrative. Um, but
Yeah.
uh, but yeah,
And
yeah,
you can have agency and not be like a female warrior or high class witch or whatever that's
correct,
like killing
correct.
everyone in sight and like, oh my god, I'm so amazing. Like, yes. No, that doesn't mean you necessarily
Oh
have
yeah, yeah.
agency.
No, I mean
But
servants. Everybody has agency as long as
mhm,
they take action. They make choices to influence the outcome.
yeah. Yeah. And then when, like, you can pretend to have uh, agency if you're like, you know, some, it's not really like, maybe there are. I don't read young adult anymore, but there were a lot of young adult books back in the day that like it was a Mary Sue warrior. Like she can do no wrong and she's just killing a bunch of people and she's so happy
Hmm.
and like it doesn't affect her in any way. And it
Yeah,
is technically moving the plot around or moving forward, whatever. But like you're not gonna just pause and think about that you just killed 30 people on the battlefield without any scars or bruises.
yeah.
Like, okay, like that's a little.
3 of your best
You,
friends died, but you keep.
yeah, I'm just so
Yeah.
happy. Yeah, no, yeah,
No emotional influence, nothing.
yeah. I would
Yeah,
say that's not showing agency at all.
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
have to
that's,
be
that's showing poor writing.
like, yeah. Let's see. No, I like this. And that I can't find the other one. A
Well, yeah.
memoir said, uh,
An example of losing and regaining agency might be as a very lame example. Uh,
something
they're
like that.
thrown into a prison cell. Technically, they lose their agency. They can't get out of the prison cell. And then,
Hmm.
if they figure out how to get out of that, and they do get out of the prison cell, they regain agency. That's a very straightforward example. What's this say? Oh, yeah.
I will go first. This is older, but I missed
I
it.
I think the worst part is when I get a review response that men don't get drugged in SA'd. That's not true. They absolutely do. Or that
Yeah.
a child's trauma isn't that bad. They don't remember stuff from being young. Or no one acts like that or has that kind of baggage. Or the biggest one I struggle with is therapy doesn't help anyone. Why do you have your characters in therapy? Oh, I agree with everything you said. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's a silly opinion. There are also like there's some that don't make sense. Like, oh, historical fiction only 2 stars. Like that logically is. And then there's some that are like, well, I would say that is silly because when someone says no one or never or
oh,
always or
absolutely.
every single person does, I'm like, I can easily just ruin that whole conversation. Why would you choose
Yeah.
those words? I don't know.
Math is a thing.
Yes.
And so is percentage and
Yeah.
potential, right?
Stats.
Probability, possibility.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, because I do advocacy work for PTSD and OCD. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All this, I can
yeah.
give you like 50 examples.
Oh,
And then
100%.
that's where you, if you have like a review of that, you're just like, maybe do some inner work and I'm going to move on because that's not my inner work. That's not my issues that I'm going through. That's the kind of you thing. Sorry. Like there are some times where you have to be a little harsh silently. Don't say it to that person. Don't type it out and hit send. Yeah. No. But you look at something and you say, that is some inner work that person needs to do, and it's not my problem and it's not my business, and you move on. Yeah. Just like there are some people where like I've had a lot of people say for the trauma advocacy work that I do, that I help people like get into therapy, or like when they're in therapy and they're starting out,
you're gonna lose subscribers.
I'm so sorry. Where or like the same for OCD. And I've had a lot of people say, oh my God, you help so much. And then there's still some people that say, you're a bitch. That's not my problem, because I've had 95 people say, you saved my life, versus 5 people say, you're bitchy and I don't like you. That advice sucks. Well, you know what? 95 people really helps.
Yeah.
I've had, and that warms my heart seeing the 95 people, and then I'm so sorry that advice for those 5 people did not help them. That is an inner thing that you need to work on. I also, like, I'm not making those 95 people do stuff. They are ultimately choosing to do something based on my advice, right? And yeah, make through gestures. Do it. Yeah. Those 5 people. And I hope that they're good on their journey. But also there's some people that you can't get through to.
You can't.
Doesn't matter what topic it is. Like, I could sit down and try to logically say to that person, 2 stars for hysterical fiction. And it could be so logical. And he's like, no. Nope. That's it. You just got to move on. Sometimes you just got to move on. And
I like your bitchiness though. your bitchiness, you know, that's what makes me feel good. And I feel seen when that's happening.
Well, there's also some people will say that it's bitchy, or some people will say, oh, you're standing up for yourself because you know yourself and that's it. So that's also a subjective thing. My mom and I don't know why, I've had people say, and she's had people say, oh, I thought you were a bitch, but then I got to know you and you're so sweet.
And you're like, oh, I must be doing something wrong then, because I know.
I was like, oh, thank you very much. But that's also bias. I don't like whatever. I don't know what's going on in there for you to assume by looking at me or my mom that we're automatically X, Y, Z. But then you get to know someone, and then, oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, you got that
interesting that you admitted it as well. I do have a resting bitch face.
Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see it.
I can't do it. I do. Oh, have you seen? This is such a whatever. I don't side conversation. I don't care. That's a good one. Have you seen Cillian Murphy?
Oh yeah, not personally.
That's an Irish resting bitch
That
face. We're
is.
just like, we're we have
No
so many years.
fighting.
Yes, we have so many years, under with so many problems in Ireland that we're just like, we're just, and wait, we're in the 21st century. It's okay. We're not in the past. Hi, how are you?
Italian resting bitch faces like this.
Yeah, that's Thomas. That's Thomas.
That's right. Because I'm Sicilian.
Yeah.
I once dated a girl once, and she told me, you know what I really love about you? You're funny, you're quick-witted, you're smart, and you talk to everybody in public. Like, you're really easygoing with people. And then like 6 months later, she goes, you know what I can't stand about you? You're funny, you're quick-witted, you're intelligent, and you talk to everybody. Like, why do you have to be so social? And I was like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
But she got to know me, and she realized those things are annoying. So, like,
yeah, sometimes opposites don't attract for
yeah,
long.
yeah. Well, hey, listen. Paul Abdul said it best.
Which quote? Wait.
Oh, because
the opposites attract.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, to wrap up.
Oh yeah! Wow.
This, yeah, it's gone so fast. Wow. We just work so well together.
Yeah. Until you get that message.
Or messages. The text message. Yeah, we don't like him, and you have to listen because I have your phone number.
That's right. His beard. He shaved it. I only like watching his beard.
Yeah. I like that one. Read that.
Familiarity breeds contempt, and contempt is I concur. A very angry chihuahua.
Yeah, if you want a 4-pound, just, I don't know, menace, you get a chihuahua. A 4-pound menace. Yeah. Oh my god! I'm sure there are some nice chihuahuas out there. I have seen some, but like,
dead ones.
Oh god!
Somebody was like, "You have a I don't have a Rottweiler. He passed away, but like they were like, "Your Rottweiler, he's gonna bite everyone." I go, "Listen, this dog will bite less people than a Chihuahua," and they didn't believe me. And I was like,
have you been around a Chihuahua?"
Yeah, they hate everybody.
Yeah, they do.
Well, they hate the majority of people. I don't want to go all the way.
Yeah.
Extremist.
Well, that's why I said there have been some cute Chihuahuas.
That's right.
There are some. Dead ones. Not so. It's on the Dodo. I'm not sponsored in any way by the Dodo because it's where cute animal videos are, but there's some cute Chihuahuas on it.
See, there you go. I have 4 Chihuahuas and a Rottie. I miss my Rottie. What is that? The Chi Nation.
Chihuahua Nation.
Yeah, it's the greater threat. Agreed. Though Rotties have the Rottie growl, which is like the best.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, oh god, I miss my pupper.
Oh. Well, we'll get away from the sadness and go back into the negative feedback. Wrapping it up. I would say overall, great conversation.
See, she gets the reference.
That I would not, even if it's a great review, unless you know them, like it's a super fan, you're on your ARC team or whatnot. Don't maybe a like. I like my super fan ARC reviews on Goodreads, but I don't say anything, right? Just leave it be. It's it is what it is with those reviews, and with I know it's hard. Okay. I know it's hard, but focus on the positives and not the negatives,
That's
because
right.
you can't do anything about, well,
Unless you're
either of
trying to
them.
make
But
magnets.
magnets, yeah. Hmm.
You got to focus
Then
on the
you have to pay
positives and the
attention.
negatives too.
Yeah.
Just,
Luckily, we're publishing books. So that's not going to happen, people. Okay.
and they're not about magnets.
Yeah.
they're,
No,
they're
there's no
about historical fiction, which
magnets and
automatically
trash.
makes them 2-star. I write
But
2-star books.
yeah, I'm sure to like hypothetically to a lot of people, my books are 2 stars, but I don't have that reach at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but there's I think, well, I shared this with you, Thomas, and I kind of shared it, but didn't really like expand for privacy reasons. But for Obsidian Murders, I'm trying to be not as in depth. A family friend told me that her friend going through medical treatments, and my family friend was reading the book to that person doing the medical treatments, and she fell asleep to it. And it's, maybe some people would say, oh my God, that's horrible. I took that as it soothed her enough that she went to sleep.
Yeah.
I, for that, was like, oh my God, that's amazing. But then right after, the family friend said, and just a few days ago, that person reached out to me and said, can you tell me the book title? Because I really want to read it. It got me through a lot.
There you go.
And not like every single writer is going to have that example, but think of similar examples, even if it's just like, you read a Goodreads review, and this person was like, oh my God, it's the best book ever, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be mind blowing or life changing or anything like that. Just hold on to those positive reviews that you have read, or someone tells you, and it doesn't have to be a review on Goodreads or Amazon, but hold on to that. And does it in the end matter if someone says your book sucks because
No.
this character didn't get with that other character? No,
Why don't
no.
they have hats?
I know. Where's the hats?
Yeah. But I
Where are
like
the
purple.
where are the black shoes that
Yeah.
are shiny? I don't even
Yeah.
know. They're like the arbitrary silliness that some
She
people
doesn't know
are.
anything about shoes.
I
Terrible.
know.
1 star.
Yeah.
You gotta. I think the
Oh my God,
best
that was
the
funny.
best course of action is to create a fake account and then write a positive, glowing review, and then just use that as your marketing.
Yeah, don't do that, because that's kind of that's kind of it. Well, kind of sort of. Don't do that.
This is not me writing my own review, but this book was a stunning 2-star, 5-star
Yeah.
book.
And well, yeah, and for the beta readers and alpha readers, you don't, yeah, no one's forcing you to do all the things that they say.
That's right.
I would say, Thomas, broad, not like, why is this person wearing blue? I don't like blue. Ignore that. Like, you don't even need to. I would not even say anything. And like, if you're doing Google Docs and it's a comment, just
Yeah.
skip over the comment. It's not a big deal.
Just tell them the dress is gold
Yeah.
instead of blue.
It's
No, it's not blue. It's gold. You know that
it's
meme
something.
where it says,
Yeah.
"What color is the dress?"
Yes. No,
It's
that was so
gold.
long ago. Yeah. No, like, there are just like, you have to, over the years, and you have to figure out what your goals are. Right. Okay. I can't tell you what your goals are for writing in your career. If you want a career, if it's a hobby, I don't know. But long-term stuff. Why are you being distracting?
Oh, sorry.
We're trying to wrap this up.
Oh, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
No, not with that. No, put it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What are your goals, and then how do you want to go about your writing? Hobby, career, something you don't know yet, it's totally fine. And then
Mhm.
how do you handle the feedback for beta readers and alpha readers and your editor? It's going to be up to you, but I think overall, don't take things personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you do that, then you make mistakes like Kate Corain.
Yeah.
And then there goes your publishing deal, or you now have a 2-star rating on Goodreads because you bullied a reader or something silly to that effect, and people dogpiled on your book,
Yep.
and
See, there you go.
they didn't even read the book, but you made a not so wise decision based on one silly person, or maybe it was legitimate. I don't know, but don't. Here's
Yeah.
the overall. Just
Can I add a little? Let me just add one
yeah,
quick thing. I agree with you. Don't take things personally, because the last time I took something personally, I officially was served. So have other people grab mail from people.
Is that a male joke? Oh, like
When you get
defamation or
served
something?
like a lawsuit. If you take it
Yeah,
personally,
don't do that either.
yeah, don't do that. But
Yeah,
go ahead,
don't
carry
sue, you know. Yeah,
on. Don't
don't.
do
No.
2-star reviewers.
Yeah, don't. Though, don't get nasty
Oh yeah.
as a reviewee or, someone reading the reviews. I did not know that in a lot of not just, writing, because that's a Kate Corain situation, but for like hotels, for example, very random, but like some hotels will get people, like they will pay them money to then rate another hotel or other hotels in the area 1 or 2 stars and
Oh
just
yeah.
make up stuff.
Correct.
So you also have to remember there are, depending on like the product or the book or whatever, that they might not be legit. Someone is paying someone to say a bad thing about XYZ. So you have to come up with your own, just
Do it.
like your own thoughts and feelings and opinions, and try not to push it on other people, because then they have their own thing going on. But just share it, be open, and I would say just ride that wave of the ups and downs of life.
Skydiving.
Of skydiving, bungee jumping.
I give that
Yes.
review
Oh,
one.
yeah. All
Star.
right. And we'll wrap up with this one. I love it. Love your words and don't let others make you hate your words. Love
Dang
it.
right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for joining, everyone. We'll see you in the next live stream, or, if you're watching back, thank you for joining. Bye.